What's up guys, Sub-Zeric here, back for another VOD review, but before we get into it, update, there is a C patch that's coming out. It probably has already come out by the time this video releases, nerfing Violet very, very hard. Violet haters rejoice. Also fixing this bug that allowed GP to basically insta-permacast. It was really, really broken if you played against a GP player, and Anomaly, also invisibility getting nerfed and miniaturize, still being disabled. They got rid of that in the middle of the patch. Now, the natural way to go from here is, okay, Vi is getting nerfed really, really hard. Violet is getting nerfed really, really hard. Is there hope for, this family comp? And I would like to say, actually, maybe people don't want to hear this. Maybe people don't want to hear that family might still be playable. But I played a really, really interesting game last night. I was sitting in call with Demacian Raptor and Dorowaza. Demacian Raptor has been rank 1 EU NE, has been rank 1 global before. Dorowaza has been quite high ranked on the North American server in the past. Both very, very good players. And we were sitting in call, and, I ended up in what looked like a family line. I already have a Draven, already have a Vander, already have a pair of Powders, already have a Titan's Resolve here. So I have great items to play towards this comp, and I get dropped a full Hodge here. So my spot looks so good to play towards this comp, and I get offered welcome to the playground here. So it's an easy grab this and then call the comp out. But I want to talk about something interesting that I ended up doing this game. It's a very, very interesting tech. We'll talk about it further into the game, but it revolves around Powder, actually. And I wonder if, in a world where Violet is obviously getting nerfed quite hard in the patch because she is one of she's probably the most broken unit of the patch. Maybe this is a way where, maybe this is something that a lot of people didn't really see before the patch came out, but maybe this is a way for this comp to actually, still exist and still do well. So you'll see as we get further into the VOD, around 3-2 is when you're really going to start to see the tech come into focus. But right now, we're just playing the standard, solid early game of Family. We have Welcome to the Playground, which was actually nerfed. Imagine if this hadn't been nerfed, but now your units need to live till 17 seconds. You need 2 family units to live till 17 seconds, which is actually pretty tough when you've only got the 3 in right here. At least I have this double item Violet, like I talked about, so hopefully she can just pop off and live up. I need that timer up there to tick to 13, and it does tick to 13 here, so I get another Vander. Honestly, I was really hoping to get another Violet here, and honestly, also a good loss here is probably the best case scenario so that I can pick up ideally a really, really good item for Violet down the line. And Violet 2 also really, really important. We talked actually a little bit in call about what I should play here, because obviously 2 Vanders makes the front line a bit tankier. I think I end up actually playing 2 Powders here, with the idea being that, you want to guarantee that 2 of the family units are alive for as long as possible. And basically, both Violet has to die here for them to ever get onto my backline, which is when they end up getting onto the Powder here. So once again, we live till 13 seconds. It means we're going to farm an extra unit, which is really, really good. This fight is actually kind of like Violet actually hard pops off here, which just this just goes to show why they nerfed this Violet unit. But it's also actually a fantastic loss. I didn't actually realize, because I was lost in the sauce. This is just such a good loss streak here. Best item on Carousel here, there's a few different options. I could take Sword, or I could take Spat here to look for Family Spat. End up not really being able to get either, so I can go for Cloak here to look for Bloodthirster. It's a 3-cost Cloak, which looks pretty nice here. It doesn't really build out of Rod into anything. I'm not going to go for Ionic Spark, but, that's fine. We pick up another unit here, which is another Powder here. We talked a bit about GP potentially fitting on this board. Obviously, he's Scrap and Pit Fighter, which is really, really good. But I end up not just playing him because of the idea that, if I play GP, this means Vi. Obviously Vander's not going to survive till 13 seconds left. Violet would have to survive till 13 seconds left. This fight, actually, Violet ends up not getting a cast here, and then my Powder ends up dying at exactly 13 seconds. And it turns out, if your unit dies at exactly 13 seconds, you don't actually farm a unit, which was really, really sad here. I end up not getting to farm the unit, which feels bad, but it's okay. This is still a really, really nice 4-loss streak for me. I'm just hoping that I don't fight somebody really, really strong. Yeah, they were yapping in call about, oh, it should be GP, and I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure it's just play the Powder here to almost guarantee, especially because I'm trying to lose. I also really hope that I don't fight that player who is full open, because obviously I can't full open. I need to have as many family units on board as possible just to make sure that I farm here. This is a relatively good fight for me. Violet lives for a while, and the Powders live long enough that I end up losing. 78 HP, 5 losses, fantastic spot-wise, by the way. And I get to pick up a Vander 2 here and another Powder 2 here. So the spot looks amazing for this comp, I would say. This is a really good spot. I'm pretty sure like uncontested in this line. I think I scared everybody off with the fact that I took Welcome to the Playground, which obviously commits me, and I'm at the elo where people are good enough where they're not going to just like troll and contest me for fun. I have the ability to sell GP here, which is nice, and I'm up to roll a little bit here, just down to around 30 gold to pick up my extra 2 stars in this spot here, so that I can so yeah, that I can have my board doing well. I end up, yeah, this is so basically with these items here, the best slam in this spot is BT Edge of Night. And the question then becomes, okay, well, if I'm building BT Edge of Night, then what am I doing with the Hodge? And the idea is the Hodge is going to go onto Powder. And this is the start of this game plan. First, step 1 is I'm moving Hodge over to Powder, giving her a healing item. So that's step 1. This is actually a fantastic loss, another perfect loss. I had so many good losses this game. Here's step 2. We look at our augments here. Blistering Strikes, it's fine. I don't have any heal cut outside of Powder, but it's whatever. Backup, not that interested. Find Your Center, though. Now, Find Your Center is nice in this comp, theoretically. The problem for late game is that you really want Violet to be able to wrap. You want her to be able to wrap to backline and just get that backline access. You're not going to have that if you have her in the middle of the board. She's just going to have to punch through the entire front line. But that means that we could maybe go a different route here and do the frontline Powder tech here. So this is the first round that I do it. Honestly, in hindsight, after we talked about it more, and like, I don't know, I was lost in the sauce because they were like, try the frontline Powder thing out. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Honestly, in hindsight, like, Powder should not be in the Find Your Center hex right now. It should be Violet there, and I should not be playing double Powders at this point. My board's tanky enough that I can just play 3 family and it'll be fine. I don't believe I end up getting punished here. Yeah, I do not. And so now we can just play the standard board and put Violet up there in the hex. But just a preview of what's to come in this game, because it's a very cool tech. Oh yeah, there was actually one person contesting me. I was so mad about this guy because he took double econ augments just to contest me in Violet. But I mean, at the end of the day, I can't say that it was a bad play from them. They end up, you know, win streaking so long with just the Violet 3 that they got from the Giga Econ augments, and it's not so bad for me because I do have the ability of getting a Violet 3 just from the fact that I have you know, Welcome to the Playground. So yeah, it's kind of chill. I think actually I didn't end up farming this round, which was kind of crazy. All right, going into carousel here. I'm done with my my Violet items. So the question is, who do you itemize next? Oftentimes I've been looking for like Draven items in a spot like this, but I decided to go for something else here, which is the glove here for my Powder items. This is going to be a JG Hodge Powder in this spot here, and we're pretty close to Powder 3, actually. You know, we're 2 off at this spot, and we have a lot of gold to roll here. There's another Darius, gonna roll a bit here. There's another Powder, and boom, there is Powder 3 on the board. I can make the JG and put it onto her now. If you guys haven't used this create item tech, it's actually really cool. And so now you'll see 3-5. This is when we really start going for this Powder tech. You can, let's just watch this Powder's damage. Boom, a huge crit on the front line. This JG Hodge setup is so nice because she does a ton of damage and drain tank. Sadly, she gets stuck on the Trundle here, which is pretty rough. But this Violet is a really nice complement to the Powder and just cleans up the rest of the board. Almost, we end up losing this fight. Man, if I had lost at 3-3, this would have been the world's best loss streak. I lost so many fights. But you know, we're still continuing to roll for our board. Obviously, we still really want to get to Violet 3 in this setup and Vander 3. And the second that we find either Violet 3 or Vander 3, it kind of guarantees that the rest of our units are going to be one or the other. So pretty chill. And yeah, I mean, we're on a 2 loss here, but still 60 HP is quite enough. We're in a really good econ perspective, or a really good spot econ wise, which is one of the biggest things that you need with this comp, is a lot of econ, because you need to be able to hit the Violet 3 and then also be able to roll for your 4-star 1-cost augment, which we'll talk about later as well. But yeah, you can see I really want to look at like some of the late game damage dealing numbers, but there's some crazy numbers that this Powder outputs, and we can talk about her final item as well here because we've got Cloak open in this spot. Yeah, at this point, you know, we still need to roll down for Violet. It's hard to play and call. I'll be real with you guys. These dudes were yapping to me. I mean, they gave me a lot of good advice. I will, you know, absolutely say that. But you know, it's hard when you have people yapping to you, do this, do that, especially when they're good players. If they're bad players, I could just ignore them. In any case, one off Violet 3 here. I opted to just level at this point, saying, you know what, it's almost guaranteed that we're going to get to Violet 3 here. Also, Even Shroud is kind of the only slam that can be made. We we use the cloak with scrap with the GP that we get in, and yeah, the idea is like as long as my units survive, I'm going to get another Violet at some point. The kind of scary thing is that I did not end up surviving. Like my Violet and yeah, my Violet and Vander did not survive long enough for me to farm here, so I end up not grabbing that there, which is so rough. Invested in Artifactory, both pretty bad in this spot. Flurry of Blows I think is fine, especially because it also gives the crit strike chance, which is pretty good onto the powder, and the attack speed is obviously solid on the Violet. We see Greater Moonlight here. I don't actually love this in reroll. Like, you actually kind of want to just play this in a comp where you have a random 1 cost that is good. Like, it doesn't say a random 1 cost 3-star, it just says a random 1 cost. You don't actually need them to be 3-starred. I think it's kind of a waste to go for Greater Moonlight in a spot like this. Picking up another Vander though is pretty nice in this spot, so I get the Zeeks here, and then I just opt to end up putting it onto the GP, move this stuff into frontline, and yeah, position like this, which is, you know, fine. Oh yeah, and then I end up moving the Vander over so that the Even Shroud is next to the Violet. But yeah, also red buff slam here. I should have done that last fight, but once again got stun locked by all the yapping. It's hard, it's hard. I completely empathize with it because I do a lot of coaching. Metafy still 30% off, by the way, for another few days, so if you want to get your coaching, link in the description. But I do a lot of coaching, and whenever people want me to do live coaching, I'm like, we should probably just do VOD reviews. It's a lot easier for you. And people are like, nah, let's do live coaching. Then they get Giga Stun locked, which, you know, happens to the best of us. Another Vander here, have to sell the Draven here, which is rough. I do end up picking up Vander 3, which is actually a really good sign because now all I have to do is guarantee in this round or the next round that I farm 1 unit with Welcome to the Playground, and then I'll have my Violet 3, which is all I really want in this spot. Though, okay, so actually in hindsight here, I think, yeah, we do make it to the 13 seconds. I think in like super hindsight, I probably shouldn't have frontline Powder this early. She ends up being fantastic, and you see 5,000 damage here is great. She ends up being fantastic late game, but in the early to mid game, I probably should not have frontlined her. Last item here, so I end up taking the chain on a Vi here. I probably should have just gone for a different component. I do kind of want to hide what it is because it spoils what the last powder item is here. But I probably should have just taken that item on carousel. We can talk about it later. But hey, I get my Violet here. Once again, when you're playing this comp, you want to guarantee that you can get to the Anomaly that turns one of your 3-star 1 costs into a 4-star 1 cost. You need to hold, I don't know the exact number because you can't see every single Anomaly, but you know, I don't know the exact number, but you need at least, there's like 60 anomalies in the game, so you need somewhere around 60 gold, probably a little bit less than that to like actually guarantee it. So I got 60 here, so we don't level here, we chill here. And I will also say, I mean, look, sometimes I high roll, sometimes I high roll. My first Anomaly is Ultimate Hero. That is disgusting here. Now, I know people here are probably screaming for it. You have Powder in the thumbnail. Put Powder in the Ultimate Hero Anomaly. I honestly, after seeing how well Powder did this game, I honestly wish I had. And I think with all the nerfs of I really want someone to try this Ultimate Hero Powder for. But I'm a Bedge player. I just went for the Vi 4 because you know, I just want to take the most consistent thing. I was playing for LP here. I was playing to not get to not lose a life in Box boot camp. So I was like, I'm just gonna play for the LP and do the thing that I know is solid. Which yeah. Also here, I really start to focus in on positioning because I basically hit my entire board. You want to make sure that you are opposite side of Scion every time Scion absolutely destroys Vi. We kind of talked about this a little bit in the last VOD review, but Scion is a huge annoyance for Violet. And you tend to want her the same side as enemy carry so that she can just wrap onto backline. But you'll see here just this powder damage casting on the front line. Look at this, a couple of casts, almost 7,000. Look, she did as much damage basically as the Violet 4. And I mean, just wait till you see some more of these fights. This Powder is an absolute monster this game. She way exceeded my expectations. I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying, wait, just hold all these powders and you go for Powder 4, Violet 4. It's going to take way too many rounds, especially because I did not hit that quickly this game to hit that. So I will also make you a little bit sad and say that I did not go for Powder for this game. Echo's a great in here, though. He's Ambusher for the Powder here. Itemization-wise here, the last item for Powder is a BT here, which is, it's interesting, you know, from the perspective of like, well, wouldn't you want like a mana gen item on her or something? But no, you don't need a mana gen item. The mana gen item is her getting hit. And what you do is you have this BT on her and she just drain tanks the entire fight. Look at this Powder go, one big ult on the front line, Boom, another big ult in the front line. She heals up to full. Boom, another big ult. Sadly, we killed most of the units, so she couldn't heal that much up. But then Vi just cleans up at the end here. Let's look at the damage dealt to champs this fight. 14k for Vi, almost 12k from the powder here. It's so insane, actually, how much damage powder does. And so I think in a world where this comp probably becomes a bit less contested because there are obviously, not 10 people trying to force Violet for, I'm also, after watching this VOD, I'm a little bit afraid. Like, what if Powder 4 is still really solid, like as good or maybe even just a little bit worse than Violet 4 is? Like, what if this comp is still that good and people just end up going for Powder 4 every game? I do think it was really nice that I had the Violet 4 to kind of clean up. Powder did a lot of damage to the enemy front lines, like blew through those, and then Violet kind of cleaned up everybody afterwards. So I think they actually did really good job as like kind of like double duty. Also, Dorowaza points out here that I should just move the red buff to this GP and then move him to backline so that he will actually spread red buff better. Really good call out from him. I feel like Dorowaza is someone who's really good at these kind of like small optimizations. I would plug his, Twitch or whatever. I mean, you can look him up. He does some very cool, he does like really cool ideas for TFT content. He doesn't like consistently stream or post or anything like that, but he's done like TFT Jeopardy before. If you guys ever watched the TFT Jeopardy video that we did, he ran that. He's done some other cool videos before. TFT like red flags he made us do, which was fun. So yeah, he has some really cool content ideas. Last item here is just going to be for Vander. There's a lot of AD in this lobby, so I go for Bramble Vest. It's also on a 5 cost, which is pretty good. So yeah, I just want to take this for a lot of these good, like solid matchups. Also hold on to this Tristana here for potential next in on the board. If I don't get a 6 Pit Fighter, she's a fantastic unit on the board here. So yeah, we can look at that. But I mean, 5 streak here. This Powder, once again, just watch the Powder every fight. It's so satisfying, especially against a board like this with just all this HP from these bruisers here. Boom, counter cast, and look at that powder cast. Boom, up to full HP. She's just so fun to watch in these fights. My Violet ends up actually going down, but the damage that Powder did gets Vander enough time to buy time. And look at that. That damage there, I think, is really important to look at. Demasi Raptor was like, I need to screenshot this. 15,000 damage from Powder 3, out damaging the Violet 4. That is actually just insane. So yeah, I mean, for the rest of the game, we can really just kind of like watch the comp pop off. There's not much else to do outside of putting in more Pit Fighter. It is interesting, by the way, this Powder is a 3 family and 2 Ambusher Powder. That's it. That's all she has on this board. I guess you can count Scrap, but Scrap obviously isn't augmenting her damage. Whereas Violet, this is a 4-star Violet with 4 Pit Fighter in. I don't know. I'd really like to see someone play for I wish I could have played for the 4-star Powder, but like I said, I was a coward because I needed to play for LP. But if I'm ever in the spot again, I will go for the 4-star Powder and try it. I immediately sell the Camille here, and Massimo Raptor yells at me because he's like, that was your next in. It's Ambusher and it's Enforcer. And I'm like, oh, I was just going to play the Trist for extra attack speed. Like, I don't know. I kind of still feel like it might be the Trist just because it's 24% attack speed onto the Violet, which is a huge amount. But I don't think it ends up actually mattering here because I think, well, let's see. Inex Spark here is the pick here. Obviously, we need some MR Shred for Powder, but I end up hitting pretty quickly here. There's Trist to hit, and then I hit Savika here, so I can play Savika and Urgot here for 6 Pit Fighter. So it all ends up kind of working out well. End up throwing this onto Vi because she's a 6 Pit Fighter Vi, so she's going to last pretty long, and also she's just like positioned in a pretty good spot, whereas Echo might do some weird stuff. But yeah, this the 6 Pit Fighter is obviously a huge upgrade to the board. The Violet, this fight, okay, this fight Violet wins. She ends up clearing the board pretty well. Also at this point, I don't even really need Darius anymore. He's Watcher, which is nice, but obviously 6 Pit Fighter is a really good in on this board. So that's what we're gonna work with here. There's also not that much for me to roll for. I basically have 2 options here. I could roll for Savika 2, or I could push 9, or I could push 10. At this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm so strong. I'm just gonna push 10 here. Also, boom, Powder ult. She's so satisfying to watch in the front line. Actually, just boom, absolutely destroying these frontliners. And this Violet is doing good work, right? But the Powder is really doing the work of chewing through the front line. They're out damaged the Violet again. It's so crazy how much work that this Powder does. I feel like I cannot overstate it. Pick up a Smeech here who could be an Amateur in the end. The ideal would be like a Jinx here. That would be the nice way to kind of like end up capping out the board. So I opt to just make a new team planner for that. This guy, we end up actually kind of completely botching our positioning versus, which ends up mattering a good bit here. We're not the same side as this this guy, and the Cyan ends up disrupting us a lot. So our Violet ends up getting to the backline but not doing anything because we're not the same side as their carry. So we end up losing this fight, which is actually a little bit worrying. At this point, I will say Demacian Raptor, not a believer at all. He said that, okay, this guy's just too high cap, you're going to lose. But he did not count on the family spat off Carousel here, which is another huge upgrade for my team. Makes all my family units even stronger here. It's just huge in this spot. Also, at this point, because I know I'm kind of low, I'm like, okay, I kind of need to roll for my upgrades, the big thing being Savika 2. I'm level 9, so the odds of me finding Savika 2 are very high. I do end up picking it up, so now I can move a lot of these items over to Savika, and I do swap to the right side here so that I can potentially get the backline access onto the Draven here. Only downside is my powder might get preyed on by this this Vi. The Vi Olet might just walk up, but I realize that I'm stomping that guy there. And then I look to the other board, and actually, I think they're fighting their clone, which is, you know, whatever. Yeah, he ends up stomping that guy's, or that guy's real, actually. I fought clone here. But yeah, at this point, we're 40 gold here. We do have the possibility of going 10 if we just survive for another couple of rounds. I know I need to be right side versus this guy. And I also know that if my clone fights the other guy, I need to be right side versus that guy as well, the guy I lost to. So I position on the right side here. I see that my clone's fighting him here. So my clone is on right side, which is the perfect side here. I know I'm probably always winning this fight. And yeah, the powder plus the violet just breezes through this board here. And then check out my clone. Because I'm the right side, the Viraps here, and I get a double kill. Not saying that I'm a beast and that it was perfect positioning, but I'm a little bit of a beast and it was perfect positioning. But yeah, I mean, the amount of fights that this powder just absolutely hard popped off, did so much insane damage. So many fights where she was out damaging the Violet, which was just so insane. I thought I had to VOD review this game and show off this tech to you guys. It was so fun with the Find Your Center, and I can't wait to see more people try because it's really fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this VOD review. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, check my Twitch, all my other links down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.